Manchester City versus Arsenal at the Etihad tomorrow. This is the title decider. And Arsenal have played 32 games on 70 points. City have played 31 games on 64 points. If they win this game, they go to 67 points with a game in hand. That game in hand is against Burnley, which we can expect City to win, and then it's all evens and it's down to goal difference. And if City do beat Arsenal tomorrow, you can expect they close down that goal difference. With another win, we can expect at Burnley, we can imagine they can rack up goals there. They probably will have a higher goal difference, and it will be the first moment this season that Man City will be above Arsenal in the Premier League table. And the reason, in terms of the goal difference, why that would be an issue for Arsenal is because in recent games, Arsenal are struggling to score. If you notice at the beginning half of the season, in fact, more than half of the season, Arsenal's front players, the four front players, Gyökeres, Trossard on Martinelli, Madueke, Saka, whether it's Eze or Odegaard. To be fair, Trossard was the most productive out of them all, especially earlier in the season. But they have been poor. Their output has been horrific. The way they're playing on the eye test has been horrific. And they are now struggling to score goals. Before this, before when they were still dominating games, the thing with Arsenal was that the goal could come from anywhere on the pitch. Anywhere on the pitch. It didn't need to come from the front line. But recently, Arsenal have just been struggling to score. And it seems if they keep playing in the same manner that they have been, that they will struggle to score and Manchester City will overtake them on goal difference. And this is key. This is pivotal, you know. And we have to talk about Arsenal's recent form, the way they've been playing, because again, we talk about the haram football, we talk about the set piece football. When Arsenal were still doing that, they were doing that in a dominating fashion. Defensively, they were sound. In the midfield, they would still dominate the ball. With Zubamendi, dictating play from that six for the majority of the season. With Rice, all action, up and down, running more than the opposition. But in recent games, Zubamendi has been absolutely shocking, clearly with a hit of confidence. Declan Rice, he's been okay, he's been decent, but it's nothing to write home about recently. And now we talk about the lack of creativity in Arsenal's team. Because again, I'm not going to waste too much time talking about that front three, even the front four, because Eze and Odegaard gets on the ball regularly and tries to make things happen. But his final pass, his final movement, his final decisions have been poor. Eze, yes, he can have a moment once in a while, but for the majority of Eze's game in an Arsenal shirt, you don't even know he's on the pitch. And now this is where I get to Declan Rice, because Declan Rice, yes, he's an all-action midfielder, but he's not a creative. Yes, he creates chances from set pieces, but I'm talking about in play. He's not a creative midfielder at all. He's just an all-action, up and down midfielder. And that's what he is. I say the best things that Declan Rice is good at is breaking up play, driving with the ball into space, not dribbling, but driving with the ball, and his set pieces. Those are the things that Declan Rice is top at. But creativity is not one of them. And I think Declan Rice, you will get the best Declan Rice when you have creative midfielders around him. So whether that be a deep lying playmaker, whether that be a number 10 like the likes of Ozil or KDB or Bruno Fernandes, these type of players can allow Declan Rice to be the workhorse that he is and do it to the best ability. But now Declan Rice isn't looking as good. Why? Because Declan Rice's best abilities do not make up for the deficiencies in creativity in Arsenal's team. And you can see that Zubamendi, yes, he can actually, recently he's been poor. But before that, let's not have amnesia. Zubamendi's had a decent season. He will get the ball from the back line and he will keep the ball ticking. He will keep the game flowing. He will keep Arsenal in possession. But is Zubimendi the guy that can, create from deep the way a Pirlo did? He's not that guy. The way a Carrick did with continuous line breaking passes. So you get past the press and now you've got an overload going forward. Zubimendi doesn't seem like he can do that consistently. They don't have a centre attacking midfielder that's been creative. So Declan Rice is now just seeming like yeah, he's good, but is he really affecting games? And I saw the discussion on the overlap of some of the guys saying they want Declan Rice to grab the game tomorrow by the scruff of the neck and drag Arsenal to victory. And Paul Scholes, and listen, I've been critical of Paul Scholes for some of his antics recently, but I agreed with him. He said, I don't see that from Declan Rice, and neither do I. Neither do I. Yes, Arsenal fans, they love talking about the 2 free kicks at the Bernabeu. That's never happened again, and it was a great night for Declan Rice, but that's an anomaly, is the point I'm making. Declan Rice in play in a game is not the guy that's going to create something or do something insane to make something happen, to get Arsenal a goal. He's just not. But Declan Rice is the guy in a great team when they're functioning well that he will work tirelessly, tirelessly and endlessly to ensure that Arsenal are overpowering the other team. But this is simply not the case for Arsenal at this moment. And it's going to be really spooky, man, because they've been playing really poor this season. Sorry, not this season. They've been playing very poor recently. And I said, Sporting Lisbon, yes, Arteta, we can assume that. Arteta probably wanted the game to go that way. 0-0, let's just get through to the Champions League semi-final and let's not exert too much energy. But if Arsenal play exactly how they played against Sporting Lisbon, against Manchester City, it could get dark. It could get bad. I'm talking 3-0, 4-0. That's truly what I believe. However, with a bit more rigidness, with a bit more heart, because at the end of the day, that's what Arsenal are lacking recently. It's their mentality. Because people are talking, yes, they are missing the likes of Marino, I think is a big miss. They are missing Timber, who I think is a huge miss. And I spoke about Timber, the miss that he is for Arsenal at the moment. But at the end of the day, at the beginning of the season, if Ben White stepped in or Lewis Skelly stepped in or Odegaard stepped in or whoever, and Nick Hamill, Eze, whoever, Arsenal are still winning games. Arsenal are still dominating games. It's the mentality that has got lost upon them at the moment. It really is. So, do I think that Arsenal are going to be able to be compact enough and as confident in their defensive capabilities? Because the defense has been shaky. Gabriel's making mistakes. Saliba's been a little bit shaky. Raya, to be fair, those are the guys that are Arsenal best players along with Declan Rice. But everything hasn't been sound and the defense has not been sound at all recently. They look like you can get at them. And you just think to yourself, Arteta, how are you going to play this? And I believe Arteta is going to do exactly what we expect him to do, like he always does. He's going to stay compact, he's going to stay defensive, and he's going to try and nick a goal later in the game. But I just think if Arteta sets up like that, City are going to eat them alive. I really do. I think it will just be a repeat of the Carabao Cup final. However, Arteta, are you going to take a risk? And when I say take a risk, are you going to start Max Dowman? Because I believe, especially in your attacking line, especially to beat City tomorrow, especially to show intent that you are going to go win this league and beat them to it, you need someone that's going to create something out of nothing. And the only player in attacking areas that they have that can do that to the level I'm talking about is Max Dowman. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's inexperienced. Yes, it's a lot of pressure, but he literally is the best of the lot they have. It's the truth. So will he show a bit of a bit of character about him, attacking character, intent to go and do that? I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think he'll start Madueke for sure. He'll probably start Trossard. I reckon he'll try bring on Martinelli off the bench late on to try have an effect when players are tired. Gyökeres will start. Eze will start. Eze, especially after your comments, I made a video about it that we will when we win the league. You said when we win it. You said if you don't turn up tomorrow, you're a bum. Let's have it right, Eze. You're a bum. If you don't turn up tomorrow, you're a bum. If you do turn up tomorrow, shout you out. Shout you out because I said I love your character. I love your nonchalant character. I love the demeanor that Eze has. I love Crystal Palace Eze, but Arsenal Eze has been a complete shadow of himself. And if you have the nerve to make, big comments like that is the type of comments star players make. And if you have the nerve to make a comment like that and you don't turn up tomorrow and you do what I expect you to do, which is be an absolute ghost on the pitch, we'll be having some conversations. You can be sure about that. Now, Manchester City, Pep Guardiola. If Pep Guardiola wins this Premier League in a transitioning City side with so many new players over the last 2 years, those players being Mateus Nunes not too long ago, Kusanov not come too long ago, Guehi, uh, Ait Nuri, Nico O'Reilly, you can even say Donnarumma, um, Nico Gonzalez over the last 2 years, Reinders, Shirky, Semenyo, like all of these Marmoush, all of these new players in this team. If in this transitioning year he somehow goes and wins the league, and I was saying Arteta and Arsenal created a currency of set pieces, defensive football this season that nobody could hack. Yes, Manchester United, we found a solution to that when we went to go play them at the Emirates. But I believe that solution was more of a solution that was fitted to our first team, not how do you just beat them? How do you beat this tactic? It was more so how do Man United beat them? Pep Guardiola in that cup final, the 4-2-4 press, where he has Haaland, Shirky, Doku, and Semenyo all lined up against that back four, stopping and Raya, stopping the the service, getting into the midfield. And like I say, people act like Zubamendi and Rice don't have to do better in terms of receiving the ball. Because I promise, if that's Pedri and Mainu in those things, they're gonna receive the ball. I promise you they are. But anyway, that's not the point. That Pep Guardiola coming up with a tactic in crunch time of the season to nullify what has been the currency of the Premier League this season, something that Arteta did, and I rate it that he did. He found a way, even if we don't like it, to win games. But Pep Guardiola, always inventive, always thinking what's next, always in his crazy laboratory experiments. And he finds a method, a tactic to nullify that. And if he now does that, and especially Pep Guardiola has also gone away from his, rigid tactics of, it seems like he's accepting a bit more character from his players, the Shirkies, the Semenyos, the Dokus. The goal that we saw the other day where Shirky ran across the 18-yard line, it was against Chelsea, and then he plays the intricate pass through the lines to Guehi, who puts it away. You think Pep Guardiola likes a player that dribbles all the way across the 18-yard line? He doesn't. He wants you to pass it. Pass it, pass it, pass it, quick, quick. So the fact that he's been more accepting of the brilliance of Shirky, Semenyo, Doku, especially Shirky and Semenyo, to get himself back into this title race and get him to win, I commend it so highly because this is a man that's not being stubborn. This is the issue Amarim had, not being stubborn. This is a man that is trying to keep up with the tribes. So he's saying, oh, football's gone really haram, football's gone really rigid. Cool, let me do the opposite and find a tactic to make the creative beauty of football beat the rigidness and the defensive nature and the haramness of the football that is at the forefront and doing the best so far. And it's amazing to see that Pep's kind of fallen on his sword a bit of his rigidness and his pass, 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 pass. And of course, City still play that way. But the freedom he's given to Shirky, to Semenyo, is it's beautiful to see. And I think if Pep Guardiola, with his tweaking tactics mid-season, because don't forget, Shirky wasn't playing week in, week out when he was signed. He wasn't. He wasn't. So this is something that Pep learned. He's looking at stuff, he's learning, and then he's acting upon it. Pep Guardiola, wow, man. And if he goes on to win the league, Pep Guardiola will go up that much more in my estimations of him. And we all know how amazing he is already. One key battle, I talk about the likes of Semenyo, the likes of Doku, the likes of Shirky, but Doku, that right back position for Arsenal, Ben White or Mascara. Mascara needs to play this game because if Ben White plays this game, especially on the poor run of form that he's on, I do like Ben White as a player overall, but we all know he does not like playing against tricky wingers. And especially in the form that he's in right now, it will end badly if he's on the pitch. And I think Mascara will have the ability, the qualities to deal with Doku. Not saying he will deal with him, by the way, but I think he will deal with him a lot better than Ben White will. Shirky. Shirky. Like, this guy is beauty personified in football today, along with the Yamals, along with the Doués. If he takes the piss out of Arsenal again, because last time out in the Carabao Cup final, he's doing kick-ups. He's doing kick-ups, taking the piss out of them, taking the absolute Michael out of them. And if he had, I can imagine he's going to be roared up for this game. He's going to be absolutely raring to go in this game. So I'm actually so looking forward to the beauty of Shirky. And then you have Semenyo as well. Allegedly, Semenyo was saying that he called the Bournemouth players before the game against Arsenal and said to them, do us a favour. And then when Alex Scott scored, he picked up the phone as a celebration, almost to say, yeah, that's Semenyo's call, telling us to do a favour, and he delivered. So I even saw a video saying that if Semenyo scores, if he does that celebration, you know what it's about. It's about the call he made to Bournemouth, about them doing him a favour to get Arsenal off that top spot and to get City to the Premier League title. This is going to be an amazing game. I say that, but every time we say that about a Manchester City and Arsenal game, especially in a title contending game, a title decider game, it always ends up being a bore fest, typically because of Arsenal. So I really do hope that Arsenal turn up this time. And listen, man, this is it. Are Arsenal going to show up? And lastly, let me close out by talking about Arteta's press conference midweek before the Sporting Lisbon game. When asked about how is he feeling after the Bournemouth loss, he said, fire, fire, I'm on fire. And he started going in an emotional rant about how they got to this position and he's seen where Arsenal have come from and he's seen where they are now and they're nearly there, they're nearly over the line, and he's doing everything he can to make sure they get over the line, and he believes they will. That for me was a Mikel Arteta crash out. Because I'll tell you why. Mikel Arteta is a cool, calm, composed man. Always, always doesn't want to give too much to the press. That's been his brand. And that time he crashed out. That time he showed way too much emotion. That gave me the feeling of, oh, this is probably how he talks at home with his wife. This is probably how he talks at home with his mates. And he's actually shown his true feelings to the press. and him to be that animated and that loud almost, it's not like Arteta. When he was, and by the way, Arteta can give a joke and play in a jestful manner to the press. He did it with the Brighton manager when they said that Hertzler said that there was only one team playing football today. He said, "What a surprise." You know, when he got asked about the set pieces and that they only score set pieces, he said, "I wish we could score more." But he said those jestful comments to poke fun in a calm manner. This was not that. And I believe that that was a big crash out from Arteta. And you can see how nervous he really is for him to act that way. What do I think is going to happen? I think City are going to take Arsenal to the cleaners. I think it's going to be a case of Arteta and Arsenal trying to hold down the fort, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. When City nick a goal, I think that will be it. I think it will literally be wave after wave after wave. That's genuinely what I think is going to happen. I think Arsenal can nick a goal because they are, you know, they're due a goal. To be fair, like, you know, their set pieces have dried up, but I think they can nick a goal in a haram fashion. I think they will score a scrappy goal of some nature and maybe get on the score sheet. But I think overall, my prediction for the game is 3-1, and a big person in this tie is Haaland. You know, Haaland versus Gabriel, they've got their own rivalry going on. But Haaland, his goals haven't been, you know, at the forefront recently, and that's where the wingers and, you know, Shirky have come into play. But Haaland will play a big part in keeping Gabriel and Saliba occupied, so those three players, Doku, Semenyo, and Shirky, can work their magic. My prediction is 3-1 to Manchester City, and I do believe, like I said, my Carabao Cup theory: if Arsenal lose that game, the fall off will commence and they will start bottling it. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's find out, guys. 3-1. What do you guys think the score is going to be? Let me know whether you agree with what I'm saying in this video today. If you don't, please let me know your opinions and your thoughts. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. And I will definitely see you guys tomorrow evening. No doubt about it.